Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Hashtag Dork. My name is Rich Keefe, joined as always by Davey Eyeballs, aka Ralph Von Dalf. All hail the king of ginger ale. It's Ryan. Davey, how are you?
Let's have some fun today, huh?
Let's just mix it up a little
I'm
bit.
ready.
Just a
I'm
couple
ready
guys
for some
talking
fun today.
That's all
Mixing
that is.
up, scrapping. Yeah.
Ryan, you know what's going to be really fun?
What's that?
A live show.
Those are always fun.
They are always fun. We're going to have another one. If you missed our announcement, because it was at the end of last week's episode, maybe you bailed halfway through. We have a live show coming up April 19th at Idle Hands. It's sort of our yearly tradition. This will be our third straight April having a show at Idle Hands.
That's amazing.
So we're looking forward to that. So hopefully you can make it out. It'll probably be sometime in the afternoon. We're still finalizing some of the details, but you can expect Davey and myself to be there as long as our good buddies Mac and Goo.
Mac ampersand Goo.
Mac ampersand Goo will be there, and plenty of good beer. And we have a good topic up our sleeve, but we're gonna save it for a little bit. We have a good topic. We kind of teased it before, but
You kind of teased it before.
it's
We'll
still
see.
pretty
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Right. Can I tell you something?
Please do.
I've been fighting several illnesses.
That's not good.
I've been fighting several, and on top of it, I believe food poisoning.
What'd you eat?
So here's a whole little story here.
Can I tell you what the biggest is before you start? Please let me politely interrupt you. And the last time I had a rum in my tum-tum, you know what did it to me? Chick-fil-A.
Fritos.
Chick-fil-A.
What? Really?
Which is not good because that's
I
like
love Chick-fil-A.
Everyone loves Chick-fil-A except for people who are not right-wing conservatives. It's chicken.
That's chicken. That's what I love, chicken.
Yeah, it got me. But we'll continue with your story. I'm very disappointed with that, though. Yeah.
So anyway, there's like several facets to this story.
Okay.
They're all probably boring and not necessary, but it's a podcast, Ryan. That's kind of what we do.
It's kind of what we do.
So, my wife wanted to do the keto diet.
Sure.
And so obviously she's going to be cooking that way, and I'm very supportive. I'm like, I'll do it with you. Let's do it. I go, it doesn't sound
meat and green vegetables. What's not to like?
It doesn't sound that crazy.
Yeah.
You know, it's like it's not zero carbs. It's just very, very few carbs.
Right.
All the meats you can handle. You can have eggs and like all this other shit. So we're doing it. It's a little weird. Like I thought it was going to be easier than it was.
Yeah.
But we did it for like 5 days, and then on one of those days, we're like, hey, let's just order from this place. I'm not going to name you the place, but we're going to go to this
let's
place.
not throw anyone under the bus here. We're not.
But it's a place that normally also has like really good pasta, but obviously we weren't going to get the pasta. So we just got the chicken portion and some vegetables. So I don't know which part it was. So the next morning, my wife throws up.
Oh, yeah.
I, for 48 straight hours, only had diarrhea. And Ryan, the only thing slowing it down was gravity.
Yeah. I think what you two ran into was some undercooked chicken. That's what that sounds like to me.
Well, chicken.
I love chicken.
I was sick thinking about it. So anyway, but then I was like coming off of being sick. I had fucking pink eye for the first time in my life. I'd never had pink eye. I had a murderer's sore throat. Like
this does not augur well with you. What's going on in the world right now?
I've kept up with the news, and I know that it's bad. So I had just like a brutal sore throat. I had like a stuffy nose, and I had all kinds of ailments. And then on top of it, this keto diet. So anyway, we bailed on that because now all we want is like soup and like noodle soup, because you feel awful. I had a nice ginger ale that got me back on my feet a little bit.
See the medicinal property. Do you have a Verner's?
No, I just had Schweppes.
A Verner's.
I should have had a Verner's.
Something with a little bit more ginger content. Yeah. You know what I mean?
But holy smokes, I was just an absolute mess.
She had the rum in the tum, and you had the squirty hurts.
I sure did, right?
You had the scooty toots.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. That's not good.
And then like for like 2 straight days, I ate next to nothing. And then if it did go in me, it was out of me right away. Like too sweet.
Lickety split in 2 shakes of a lamb's tail. That was
like,
out of me.
Could not be far from the toilet because it was coming out whether you wanted it to or not.
And the thing that farts that gave you so much joy in the past, now you don't trust them.
No, you don't. You can't. Don't trust a fart, Ryan. A wise man once said that.
Yep.
And the other thing was, this was over a week. So I've been like sick, like for 3 straight weeks.
Sick as an animal.
I've never been this sick this long. But my wife also got strep throat during this time, and this was after I was sick. So then I have a really bad sore throat. So she's like, "Well, you got to go get tested, especially now because we have a baby."
You get the
And
baby.
I told her, I'm like, I don't get strep throat. I get murderers sore throats, like I said, but I don't get strep. She's like, you got to go tested. So I go to the urgent care.
Yeah.
Get tested. Don't have it.
Negative.
It hurts like, and then even the lady's like, "Oh, real red back there." I'm like, "I know it's red back there."
Yeah, I talk for a living.
It's like I'm swallowing sandpaper every time.
Let me tell you this. One time I had mono. I didn't even know.
Just slept a lot?
No, I was in college, and my girlfriend at the time was like sick, and she's like, "I have mono," and I was like, "Oh, that's cool." And they're like, she's like, and again, she's like, "You should probably go get tested," and I did, and they're like, "Yeah, you got it," and I'm like, they're like, "Do you feel any different?" I was like, "No."
It's the kissing disease, Ryan.
Sure is. And
were you guys kissing?
Oh, smooching up a storm.
Ah, that's good stuff.
Yeah.
So last thing I'll say
and regular.
Last thing
So
you did regular styles?
Mm-hmm. Little pecky smooches, and then the big, like we're trying to eat each other.
Yeah.
You know?
I had another thought I'll save.
Save it.
I had it was probably obscene. So the last thing I'll say about it was, and I forgot to say it on the podcast last time, but so 2 Fridays ago, I was filling in on the morning show.
Sure.
So that's a show that starts at 6 a.m.
Yep.
So you can only imagine what time your day starts. And my poor little daughter had an ear infection because the whole house is just right.
What is with your house? Jesus Christ! Someone put a plague on you.
I think we might move.
Yeah.
So she has an ear infection. This is during the course where I have the sore throat and the stuffy nose. No runs, so I just can't breathe out of my nose. So I like literally didn't sleep at all that night. And then you get up and I get in my car, and you know what I listened to on the way to work that put a smile on my face?
What's that?
The Aquabats.
Yeah, see, that's there. It's good for what ails you.
I listened to the Aquabats on like volume 50, cruising into work, no traffic, and I was just like, good to go.
The cat with two heads comes on, and you're like, I'm just flying right now.
Like, these guys get it.
Do the popcorn chicken.
Oh, it's incredible. Oh. Those guys it's just positivity the whole way.
It's positivity.
I love it.
It's just love with the Aquabats.
Anyway, you got anything else?
No.
All right, you guys you can rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast. Hashtag dork. Right, let's get to the news.
That wasn't the news?
No.
All right.
All right, the hashtag dork madness is rolling. The first round is almost in the books, at least at the time that we're recording. By the time you're listening, it may very well be in the books. Thanks for those who have voted so far. And if you want to join us, it's at Dork Podcast on Twitter all month long as we look to crown the best Star Wars character. There's been very few upsets so far. I think the second round, though, is going to be a whole lot better.
I think so, too. There's going to be some upsets.
You know what I've learned, though, is that people don't care for the new characters.
No, because
Poe Dameron got smoked by Jabba the Hutt, and Finn got smoked by General Grievous.
Which
I was surprised by both, although I don't think either were great.
No, not great, but still,
Still. Ryan, you want some Marvel news?
Do I ever?
Want some Marvel news? How about this? Yep. Tessa Thompson said that Christian Bale is going to be the villain in Thor: Love and Thunder.
So this is interesting because villain, as we know, the villain is. It doesn't have to necessarily be a like straight up villain. It could just be like an adversary or like a foe who then becomes an ally.
Like I was gonna say, like
happened before
in season 2 of Daredevil, wasn't Punisher technically a villain?
Technically, and same with
Fish.
I'm trying to think of
like we've seen like this is happening.
Loki. Or like,
well, Loki's more of a villain though.
Well, I understand, but he, depending on the situation.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? M'Baku, same thing.
There you go.
You know?
So that's why, because a lot of people originally tagged him with Beta Ray Bill, and so we're saying he still could be, because Beta Ray Bill in the comics sort of was this guy that was going to compete to be able to like, wield Thor's hammer, and so there might be like a serious competition and like borderline villainy, and then maybe either in that movie or at least paying like going forward he'll be a superhero. So
the two people that I think are dark horses in this race right now are Balder. He could play Balder, which is another Norse god, which if you've played God of War, you know who Balder is. He's technically Thor's brother.
Loki.
Yeah, he's his other brother.
Okay.
So that could be a good one, since we've already seen his sister show up and give him a run. Hela.
Yeah. No,
And
was that his sister or was that
Yeah.
his?
It's his sister.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, you're right.
And then the other one is Kull, who could Cul, who is Odin's brother, who is the god of fear, who has
Ooh.
shown up in the Marvel comics before. Balder and Kull have both shown up in Marvel.
I think
comics.
Balder has a better chance. I just wonder, like, again, Marvel, they can take chances and they can make Christian Bale play probably whoever they want and turn him into something. But I feel like
Beta Ray Bill would be fucking cool. You've already seen Beta Ray Bill. It's just such a weird.
On the tower.
And they said, didn't they? Vin Diesel said today that some of the Guardians are in.
Yes.
For
Yeah.
Love and Thunder. So that.
Like Groot and
Beta Ray Bill then makes sense.
That'd be pretty cool. That movie's gonna be fucking awesome.
And speaking of M'Baku, so Winston Duke said that he wants M'Baku to be the villain for Black Panther 2.
I don't want that. Do you?
Well, here's how you tie it in. So, like, he becomes kind of because Manape is who M'Baku is.
Yeah,
that's a terrible. They will never use that name, but Manape,
it's not great.
Not great. Is a villain in the comic books, and what I think they should do is have Namor still show up.
Yeah, I like your idea of Namor, and it's the same idea as Beta Ray Bill, where he's like kind of a villain, and then not.
But, sorry, I can't. I M'Baku and
you wanted Manape and Namor,
but I want there to be a disagreement as to how to handle the Submariners.
Yeah. I got you.
And then that turns them against each other.
I like that idea. I wouldn't hate the Doctor Doom idea.
I wouldn't hate that either.
Get him involved, because I think Doctor Doom, like what we know of him, and again, they can sort of do whatever they want here. But he would be interested in Wakanda.
Like, yes. Mm-hmm.
So I think Doctor Doom would make some sense. Mm-hmm. On the Netflix, Ryan, Ozark season 3 had a trailer come out, and the season comes out on March 27th. You're kind of like on this.
No,
show,
I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna watch it. It's one of those we're in. We got to see. It's like
Silicon
Valley.
Bateman.
We'll get to that in a minute.
Yes, we will. Yes, we will.
Yes, we will.
It all comes together.
Yeah.
No, but this show is Ozark. I would say it's funny. I've heard some people like love it, and I'm like, yeah. I mean, it's good. I feel like it's worth your time. There are a lot of shows better, and if it's worse than this, it's not worth watching.
One thing that really bothers me, and this is a film editor gripe that I have with this show.
Oh, okay.
When you shoot something, you shoot it in it's like D-Log. You shoot it flat, so there's no color, and you add color after. The show, if you look at it now, it's incredibly blue. Everything's blue, and it drives me bananas. That like
I blew myself.
Yeah, like the whole show has like a blue tint to it, which drives me bonkers.
Interesting.
So I just that's one of the things the gripes I have about this show. The other one is some of the characters are stupid.
Yes. That's frustrating when that happens.
But I love Jason Bateman. He's great.
Yeah, he is. The trailer for Antebellum came out?
Yeah, I saw like a 45-second teaser. That was it, right?
Oh, maybe that's all it was. Yeah, so this is, again, Jordan Peele produced.
Yes.
So it looks kind of weird.
Monet, yeah.
It does remind me a little bit of like Us, like a little bit. Or at least the way the teaser was put together.
I think that was intentional, yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, I don't know if that's a good idea. Ryan, how about this news? This kind of came out of nowhere. HBO is developing The Last of Us as a series.
Mm-hmm. So
how do you feel about that?
I'm on the fence about this because on the one hand, you have the guy who did Chernobyl is the showrunner for this thing.
And everybody says that show's good.
So I bet we might watch that next. But
yeah.
And then they're like, oh, they're gonna have Tom Holland be
the main guy.
Yeah. I'm like, you can't, first of all, you can't put this kid in everything. Joel.
No.
They're gonna have him play Joel. Like you can't put this kid in everything. He's already attached to another Naughty Dog property. He's already in the Uncharted thing.
And isn't Joel a lot older?
Joel's a lot older and a lot more grizzled, and he's like Southern.
A lot of people want Jamie Lannister.
So fine, but like for me, that story is so good that I don't need that in a TV series. What I would love to see, you've played The Last of Us, right?
Yeah.
This from Tommy's perspective, Joel's brother. Have
Okay.
Joel and Ellie be in the show, but have it from Tommy's perspective.
Interesting, because I feel like they're probably just gonna. My guess is they do the game, and they basically just show you the game, and then
Do you want that though, or I would like if you're a fan?
no, but you
Yeah.
gotta think not everybody's played the game,
I know,
and
but
it is such a good show. And then what you could do, or it is such a good story, and then what you could do is if it's popular, you could sort of go like the extra like, other stories that weren't in the game.
I just love that
see. I
story.
mean,
So I just love it so much.
it is really good.
Yeah.
And the last bit of news I have, Ryan, is we don't do a ton of wrestling here. Oh, by the way, Rossi on Wrestling. Check those guys out. They're doing some Rossi on Wrestling March Mania. They're doing best wrestling themes.
What a cool idea
to do a bracket,
like a tournament, like in March,
and then do voting on Twitter.
Yeah,
like,
that's such a good idea.
It's a
I heard
sweet
Matt
idea.
and Goo are doing it too.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah,
it's sweet.
It's an awesome idea.
Yep, and you can go on Twitter and do it.
We invented that.
Nobody was doing brackets before us. Hey, John Wooden, you're welcome.
Yeah, you're welcome.
You're welcome.
NCAA basketball. By the way, I went to my first UConn basketball game the other day with my boy, the Fridge.
How was that?
Awesome time.
You had a good time.
It was the day that the Storm Chasers, the Barstool, they got thrown out. I was at that game.
Oh, nice.
They beat Houston.
Nice.
Yeah, that's good.
Good for you. Yeah. But wrestling news, Ryan?
Oh, yeah.
I'll mention this just because this was fantastic stuff. Jake the Snake is back. And dude, he's kicked.
How old is that guy?
He's done DDP yoga now.
Oh, see, that's how these guys get back in.
He's not on booze or the cocaine anymore.
Or the pills.
He's not on, I don't think. He looks really good. He looks great. And so, no, he's not wrestling, but I tweeted out the promo. So AEW, which is like another company, which is
the root beer?
They're on AEW, not A and W.
Oh, okay.
They do cream soda too. That's how they stay in business.
Nice sarsaparilla. That's how they stay in business.
You guys do creamsicles? They're like, yeah, we do fucking creamsicles. Hang in there. We'll get you a creamsicle. So he goes. That's what. So stupid. I had to fucking
Jake the Snake. Jake the Snake in his promo.
I had the fucking dumbest thought the other day where it was like, when someone's like, how much do you weigh? And you say hard or soft?
The extra blood flow is going to add a pound or two. Oh,
you let me know what you need.
It's so much better than shoes on or shoes off. Oh, that's fucking good. I'm gonna steal that.
Hard.
Just the look on people's faces, like they don't know if you're serious or not. Just stare at them, stare back at them.
Which number do you want?
It's a 2-pound swing, so
you'll never guess it. I'm actually heavier soft.
You wouldn't know what to look at me, but
it's the damnest thing. My doctor couldn't believe it either. No, so Jake the Snake, Ryan, this is serious. So he's back.
Speaking of snakes, speaking of soft snakes.
So he's in the root beer company now, and they
I'm crying.
I've been crying for like 5 straight minutes. Unfortunately, nobody's listening to this because I was talking about diarrhea for too long. And they bailed.
What is in your mouth?
A tooth.
Oh fuck!
Lost
All right, Jake the Snake's an A&W root beer. Go. I got a lot of video game shit I got to get to. Let's go.
So he showed up, and he had a really good promo, and It doesn't really make sense to talk about now, but he was really good. You should check it out. I'm excited to see where he goes. He's basically like hyping up another guy. So like Cody Rhodes is like the main guy in that company.
Yeah.
And so Jake interrupted him. And it was like classic, like early 90s Jake the Snake. It was just like super calm, but he's ripping him. And he was like talking about this other guy that's coming to the company. So whoever that guy is going to be super over.
Sting.
You think it's going to be the only guy older than him?
Matt Hardy. Like, who the fuck we got?
I don't know who it's going to be either, but maybe you'll find out next. Ryan, that's the news I got. Let's get to your news, shall we?
Sure.
All right, what do you have?
So I got a couple things today. So there's I talked about this, I think like months ago, that Riot, who makes League of Legends, now has a shooter coming out. That shooter now has a name. It's called Valorant, which is a terrible name. It's a terrible name.
I like it.
And it's from what the gameplay I've seen, it's a cross between Counter-Strike and Overwatch, where you have different characters. They all have different abilities, but you can buy abilities at the start of rounds.
Oh, okay.
Their ultimate stays the same. They have a passive ability that they don't have to buy, but there's 2 other abilities that you can buy at the start of round. So it's kind of like, and it's, a more strategic shooter than Overwatch. So that looks pretty cool. Speaking of shooters, there is a new free-to-play Call of Duty Warzone, which is coming out tomorrow, which people on the Twitter are asking me to play. I don't know.
You're not gonna
check it out. I mean, I have to. I mean, I'll dip in, but I don't know if it'll be one of those things that lasts for me. There's 2. It's a battle royale, so they've upped it, so it's 150 players now, and I guess it's a gigantic map. So it's a little bit more. What do you call it? PUBG, in that you have like vehicles and you can get around like all like that. Okay. There's another game mode called Plunder, which is kind of like Escape from Tarkov, where you can go in and like the stuff you get to keep.
Yep.
So that's kind of cool. For those of you who are of a certain fandom and like the game Rocket League, there is a game coming out called Broomstick League. In which it's like the same thing as Rocket League, but you get to play Quidditch.
I was gonna say it sounds a lot like Quidditch.
It's Quidditch.
Okay, so
if you're one of those people,
well, Ryan, they might be listening to this, so it's good to be.
I didn't say anything disparaging. I just said if you're one of those.
It was a tone. No, you didn't say it. It was more your tone.
It was more my tone. Okay, yeah, I forget that. Yeah. There is. This is kind of an interesting story. So I downloaded this game years ago. It's called Black Mesa, which you Half-Life fans would know. That's the name of the site where the Half-Life 1 takes place.
Okay.
The game itself is called Black Mesa. And what had happened was Valve gave these fans permission to use their engine and rebuild Half-Life 1 in high def. It has taken them 14 years to do it. There was like it was in early access, and there was like different updates, and they were trying to get it right. Yeah. As of Friday, that game is now available on Steam. So if you guys want to play a completely rebuilt, they used the Havoc engine, and they used I forget the other engine that they used to make Half-Life 2. They used that for this. You can play it in 4K, however many frames. It's great. It took them 14 years. They finally did it. And it's fans. Fans did it. It was like just a group of guys.
That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah. And last but not least, Richard, news that you will like. Spawn is coming to Mortal Kombat.
Yeah,
you finally got to see the first game footage, and it looks awesome.
He's perfect for that game.
Perfect for that game.
Yeah.
And the first person they have him fight in the trailer is Scorpion, which is a great matchup between the two of them. So
great match.
So if you want to check out the Spawn footage, he has a great fatality.
Yeah.
It involves chains and the cape.
Shocker.
It's which is awesome. So yeah, check. That's it. That's what I got. That's
hey,
I ran it down quickly.
What was our guy Billy Mitchell doing with Brian Koo?
Oh my God. So Billy Mitchell he's still doing Donkey Kong practices. He's still trying to set the world record in Donkey Kong after being disgraced and working on emulators and all that stuff. And he's brought the last 2 times he's streamed, Brian fucking Koo has been sitting next to him doing like a play-by-play, and that guy is an absolute drip.
He is.
Like just zero charisma in that dude. He's just such a toady.
But
like it just drives me crazy.
He loves Billy.
He loves Billy Mitchell.
Loves Billy. more than anything.
There could be a Donkey Kong kill stream coming up.
Donkey Kong kill screen. So Brian Koo because Billy Mitchell's on Twitch, right?
Koo. He is on Twitch. If you want to follow Billy Mitchell on Twitch, he streams, I think, almost every day.
Wow.
Good for him. Just playing Donkey Kong. And like this random like arcade / bar.
That game stinks.
Donkey Kong?
Yeah.
Hot take.
It does. I know. I'm going to come out right out and say it.
Donkey Kong, you know what? You suck.
You suck,
Donkey Kong sucks. You know what? You suck.
I disagree. Donkey Kong's the greatest game of all time. Ryan?
Yes.
Are you ready for the topic du jour?
Hard or soft?
I'm glad you asked because it is the topic of the day. And today it is the HBO series, the Stephen King adaptation, The Outsider, which was 10 episodes long. It just concluded this past Sunday night. We begin, as we do with all of our movie and TV reviews, spoiler free. Let me ask you, Ryan, did you like it?
Most of it.
Yeah. I thought
Most of it.
I agree with you. I thought it started strong and we'll
Big
get to
dip
it
in the middle. Yeah.
And then ended well.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't say it ended like, whoa, holy fuck.
Ooh. Yeah.
But like, it sucks you in the first 2 episodes.
Yes.
Sucked me in. And then even the third, you're like, okay. Mm-hmm. And then, yeah, there was a lull in the action.
Yep.
And then it ended up kind of, well, we'll see. We'll see if you think it redeemed itself or not. Now, I know you've read a decent amount of Stephen King. Did you ever read this book?
I have never read this book.
Because this is pretty new, I think, right?
I think it's more recent.
I think it's a new book. It's not like one of his classics. I think, like, honestly, I think it's like a couple years old.
It was written in 2018.
So yeah, so it's really new.
It's pretty. I think it's his newest. That's a quick turnaround. And
we did. I mean, man, you'd have to go back in the archives a ways because this was a long time ago. But we did Stephen King movies as a whole episode.
Yeah, and someone got really pissed at me for spoiling the Dark Tower. The book's like 40 years old.
Come on.
like someone got pissed at me. Like,
but I think the one thing
like 1978.
Like Stephen King books turned movies or TV show are very hit or miss.
Oh my god, yeah.
Like some of the best ever, like The Shining, like Carrie, and you know, I know you always bring up Pet Sematary as being like super scary. Obviously It. Like there's some really good ones.
But there's some real dumps.
And then there's some absolute shit burgers. Like The Langoliers.
Thinner
was bad.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many of them. But this one was definitely more on the, I wouldn't say it's like the greatest thing ever to be adapted, but
no,
it was
I think
good.
It falls in with like Shawshank and Green Mile are both Stephen King too, and those are incredible.
And Stand by Me.
And Stand by Me. Which doesn't yeah, that's fine. That's a good movie.
I like
I'm trying to think of like what a middle of the road Stephen King movie would be. I think we discussed there's no like middle ground. It's either like really good or really shitty.
Yeah, that's a good question. A middle ground. Oof.
Let me see. Stephen King, like the first It is like his middle ground, you know?
Yeah.
Or
what do you say on Cujo?
I thought Cujo was good. I really like was it Salem's Lot? I really like that.
Salem's Lot. Like Misery was really good.
What else did I like? Misery was really good.
I thought Gerald's Game was good. Gerald's Game wasn't great though. Did you watch Gerald's Game?
I did not.
Your girl's in that.
Yes, she is. There's some real dumps here. The Dark Half.
Yeah, no. That's a no for me.
Yeah, no.
Oh, you know what I didn't see last year is Dr. Sleep.
No, that's something I gotta read.
I gotta watch that.
See that. Yeah.
I gotta see that. But yeah, anyway, I mean, I would say this is not the best, not the worst, but closer to like on the good side.
Yeah, it's close. Right? Like The Mist. Like it's up there with like The Mist.
Dude, I love The Mist.
Yeah, The Mist is fine.
The Mist, the ending of The Mist.
Okay, yeah.
Is the greatest.
Spoiler. We're in spoiler free right now. Yeah.
Oh my god. What'd you think of the story of this?
I wanted to like it more. If that makes sense. Like it was going in a really cool direction, and then it kind of, like you said, it kind of puttered out.
Yeah,
a little bit.
Yep. I think they did a pretty good job. There's a certain aspect of it that I like. I don't want to give anything away for those who haven't seen it, but there was like an aspect of like the way they told it, which I really liked.
Yes.
I thought the characters, there were a couple that were just There was a couple that I thought were flat out like unlikable, and then there were a
Yep.
couple of really strong characters.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this one character, Holly Gibney, is fantastic. It's like
Yes.
one of my favorite characters in a long time.
I would love to see like a series of books that King does just with her.
So
Like
apparently she is in there's a TV show that's also adapted called Mr. Mercedes, which is a 3-book like trilogy obviously.
Yeah.
And Holly Gibney is in that.
Oh.
And I guess they're like different because again, I think is it Richard Price who was the showrunner on this show. He kind of did his own thing,
Yep.
to a certain extent, and so he changed some of the characters a little bit. But Stephen King was adamant that he keep her name Holly Gibney, and so she is in other stories because you know how Stephen King stuff, a lot of it
is all interconnected. Yeah.
Again, I don't think she's going to overlap with this Mr. Mercedes because they've already established her in another kind of universe, but. Yeah, so she's in other stuff, but she was really interesting and good, and I thought was like the highlight of the whole show.
Yes, I agree.
Did you find it scary at all?
At times there were like scary moments, but
Yeah,
I was never like,
oh, I got to turn the light on.
And something happened that made it less scary for me. And we'll get to that in spoilers.
Yeah, I thought there was a couple of like creepy moments and a couple of like, oh shit. Like I thought they did a decent job with that. It certainly wasn't like terrifying.
No.
But there was a couple of moments. Is this a if people haven't seen it, this is what you should do next weekend?
No, I think this is something if you're super into this stuff, I think you should watch it. It's worth if you like this kind of stuff, if you like Stephen King, if you like kind of like psychological supernatural horror,
right?
Definitely check it out. If it's not your thing, I would say skip it.
Did you notice that there was a in the show finale there was a mid-credit scene?
I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, there was. So I'll tell you about it.
All right, yeah, tell me
about that coming up. What is your hashtag dork score?
I feel like I've been giving out a lot of these, but I'm going to give it a 4.5.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think
it's.
I'm closer to a 4 than I am a 5, but 4 feels like it's selling it short. But I might even go 4. But it's not bad.
If I were, I would give it a B minus.
Yeah,
if we were doing school grades.
Like it certainly wasn't a waste of time.
Nope.
I'm glad I watched it.
There were some good elements to it.
Yeah,
good enough that like it kept me going.
Yep,
you know.
Sure.
But it this would have been, it's 10 episodes. If this were 7, it would have been nice and tight.
It could have been.
Mm-hmm.
I think
7 or 8 would have been nice and tight. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think I'll probably go 4, but like a really strong 4.
Yeah.
It was funny, like I sort of mentioned this with Ozark, but it's like a good gatekeeper show. Like if a show this year is better than The Outsider, like that's a really good sign.
That's
like,
a great,
here we go. That's like
Watchmen, like shows that are
Better
like
Call Saul.
Saul's already better than
Saul has been.
Watchmen is better than this.
Yep. Fargo probably will be.
Fargo probably, yeah. So yeah.
No, but good. And there's definitely some stuff to talk about. So I think it's good that we're doing an episode on it. So you want to go to spoilers?
Yeah, let's go to spoilers.
Right, spoilers. First thing let me ask you is, so Jason Bateman, who was in all of the previews for the show, and was really the main character, because again, I think a pretty cool premise where you have this heinous crime take place, and there's eyewitnesses and DNA evidence that point to this person doing it. In this case, Terry Maitland, played by Jason Bateman. But at the same time, there's also eyewitnesses putting him at a different place and saying that it wasn't him. So
and I sent you a text. I was like 2 episodes in, and I'm like, if this is some sort of evil twin bullshit, like I'm gonna be so fucking pissed.
Right. No, and thankfully it wasn't.
It was not.
And I think
it kind of was, but it wasn't.
Yeah, it wasn't. It wasn't. And I think with Stephen King, you knew there was going to be some sort of like monster element type of thing to it, right? Again, because it's Stephen King. But the first 2 episodes, they actually play it like really straight. Like you don't know what it's going to be. You're trying to figure it out. You're like, God damn it! Like how is he there? How is he over here?
Which I thought really do it. And he is so good. I forget who said it, but they were talking about Jason Bateman as an actor, and they're like, there is nobody in the business who's better at things. I think it was Jason Sudeikis. It was like things happening to him and him reacting to things. He's better than anybody.
Oh, like in Arrested Development, he is off the
Yeah,
charts
and
at
I think
that.
I think it might have been Ron Howard too. They're like, there's nobody better at like reacting to things happening to him.
Yeah.
And there was these moments where like he was so self-possessed and so like controlled that you didn't know whether or not he actually did it or not.
Yeah, you started to doubt. You're like, well, you know, he seems to be a great guy. He's like a coach. He's like happily married. He's a father. You're like,
but he had a little bit of like an edge to him.
right. And then you're learning some other stuff and you're like, well, you know, oh, so he was in like Ohio. We didn't know that at first. Or like some of these like weird things going on. Like, well, what was he doing there? He had stuff in his car or his van or whatever. And you're like, well, how, or then you find out it wasn't even his van. Like the whole thing.
Yeah.
But so if he wasn't in the trailer, I don't even know if I watched the show.
Well, I think that's what they were banking on too.
And he was too, and he's a producer on the show and everything else.
Yeah.
So when he dies in the second episode, first of all, it's like, holy shit. Or was it the third?
It was the third. Because he has this, but I will say, like, he wasn't in it for very long, but he had one of the best scenes in the entire series when he's sitting with Ralph and he's talking to him about Ralph's son. And he's telling him about like how he taught him, he called it something else, but he basically taught him how to push bunt.
Yeah. Did he say drag bunt or did he say push bunt?
It's a push bunt. I mean, like, he was basically to push it down first baseline.
Right.
And like he taught him how to do that. And like just the way he's like, he tells to the kid's father, like, don't tell me that like I didn't care about that kid. Like and he says, like, I taught him that. Like he worked hard and I'm not gonna take anything away from him, but I taught him that. That was a really cool scene.
That was a really good scene. And I guess one of the differences from the book, I didn't read the book, I've just read about it, is that the character played by Ben Mendelsohn, Ralph, his son is like not around in the book, but he's not dead. And so in the show, they made him dead.
They made him dead? Oh.
Which I think actually makes a lot of sense because
makes more sense.
He clearly is way more affected by what is going on and how there's like a child killer out there. So I think that was like a good change up a little bit. But so when he dies early in the show, I remember thinking, fuck, like, am I going to still want to watch the show? And then they bring in Holly Gibney because she wasn't in at least the first episode, or maybe even the first.
No, she was not. Yeah.
And then she shows up and she's fantastic.
She's like, so good.
She's like Rain Man. And she just knows everything. It's so matter of fact and is just perfect. And obviously what they needed for this kind of case. And I also think what the show did really well, this is what I didn't want to say in spoilers, but for a show that's dealing with like essentially the boogeyman, they make it so real, and they also take a detective in Ben Mendelsohn's character and just won't believe it. And like, even though like more and more evidence is starting to put him in his face, but he like won't believe it. And then he kind of eventually goes to the other side because he's like, well, it's got to be something, right? Like there has to be some explanation for this. And I don't believe it, but it's like this world where everybody is playing it like super straight, like they're in our world. And yet you have this other entity out there that's like committing these heinous crimes. Like, because in a lot of other ones, I feel like a lot of either movies or TV shows, it's just so outrageous, or like you're getting like there's like these fanatics that like embrace what this guy's doing, or they're, you know what I mean? Like this was just, I thought they handled it a little bit differently. It was good.
Yeah, it was good. It was, you know, you had the one people who were just governed by facts and you know, evidence and all that stuff, and then people who like that. You had Holly, and what was the name of the other PI? The guy with the mustache.
I like that guy. Was it Alec?
He was one of my favorite characters in the show, and just like they're kind of going on gut.
I think it was Alec. I like him a lot. And that guy, yeah, he was the guy with the mustache. He has popped up in like a few things. He was actually in Jessica Jones season 3, which will be our next episode. Remember he played the Fool Killer.
Yes.
He was the villain. He was good.
Yeah.
He was also in that show Russian Doll, which I watched, but I don't know how many other people did.
He was good, but I like that they have those two and
because he had that story, like he basically like believed in the boogeyman.
Yeah, because he heard him like when he was a kid. Yeah, that was a really cool little side thing there. The one thing, like I said, it dragged in the middle. As much as I
Mhm,
did like Holly Gibney, the character of Holly Gibney,
mhm,
the middle, she takes up the entire middle of the show,
mhm.
which
And not as much happens.
no, and it's a lot of her like I got it before she did. You know
Mhm,
what I mean? And I think they kind of dragged that out for like
mhm.
you even told me I wound up watching the whole thing, but you even told me to skip like 2
Yeah, because I know
episodes.
you were shotgunning through it
I
over the
was,
weekend. So
yeah.
I was like, if you want to speed up, I go, you could probably bail on the middle ones.
Yeah, so I wound up watching the whole thing, and I'm glad I did, but like
Mhm.
it pissed me off. She was a high point for me for sure,
Yeah.
and just how she went about like doing things. But there were other characters too that I just every time they were on screen, I was like, ugh. One of them being Glory Maitland, played by Julianne Nicholson.
Oh my
Like,
God. Like I
so
understand why she was so mad at like Ralph, and she should have been, and for those
yeah,
guys to say Terry did it and kind of ruin her life. But then like she would like she would like shit on Ralph's wife all the time when she was clearly just trying to help.
and what killed me too is like she kept bitching at these people for like doing things on the show
Yeah.
that she gave full consent for them to do.
Right.
Like she's like, "Oh yeah, come in and talk to my daughter and ask her these questions," and then got pissed at them for asking the questions.
Like
Like,
how
it's
can you ask how can
like,
you put them through
yeah,
this? It's like, well,
you know what I
we
mean?
asked you. That's a
And it's
good
like,
point.
and she's like, I get it that again, like you said, that she's angry and she's angry at people and whatever. But the
Yeah.
whole scene with her touring the people through the house
Hmm.
and clearly like it's uncomfortable because these people know who she is and she like fucking yells at him.
Right.
Like she's like, Jesus Christ, like.
Yeah, I know.
Maybe, maybe I don't know.
No.
She was annoying.
Um, what? So, would you believe in the boogeyman? Like, if you were in this situation, if you were
We've
like Ben
we've
Mendelsohn,
talked about this before,
yeah,
and I think it's why I liked Alex so much
hmm,
is because of his reaction to this whole thing when he starts talking about like the pennies in his mouth, like he gets like this taste in his mouth.
uh-huh,
I have said remember we always talk about like Constantine and like that's one of those
hmm,
things that I would love and hate that. I think if you
yeah,
open yourself up to those things,
yep,
like the Warrens, I think you can't put the cork back in the bottle
no,
after it's
no, no, you
you know what I
can't,
mean? So I don't know if I want that smoke. You know what I
right?
mean?
I
So
wouldn't be able to sleep.
no. And
Yeah,
or like yeah. Like I don't think I would like that at all. And
but
I like him, I would be like, no, I'm not going. So there was
yeah,
so I live within striking distance of what's considered one of the most haunted places in America, which is
mhm.
Dudleytown, Connecticut. Have you heard about Dudleytown?
No, I didn't know. I knew it was in Connecticut.
It's Dudleytown.
Yeah,
So and like people, I worked with people who were like, oh yeah, basically it's like sealed off. Like you can't get there.
yeah,
And like you have to park and then like walk for like
no,
miles to like get there.
no,
And people are like, oh, we're gonna go. And people went like around Halloween, and I refused to go. Like I
you
was
don't,
not doing it.
you don't need to go to that.
No, because I know that like if that is opened up,
Yeah,
like I said, you're done for.
hmm,
So I'd not put myself willingly
no,
into that
no.
situation.
I thought an interesting twist though, like with the character, because obviously like the boogeyman, and they even talk about it in this show about how like every culture has like their
Hmm.
version, and interesting like how he can sort of take on other people's bodies, and he
Yeah.
needs so long to sort of like was it 27 days or
27
whatever?
days, which is interesting
Hmm.
because 27 years is the cycle for Pennywise.
Right.
So the number 27 is out there, and that's a very Stephen Kingian thing. And I'm
Hmm.
reading all of these things, like why that number keeps coming up.
Well, you have a working conspiracy about this.
So
Speaking
that
of,
it's
yeah,
connected. That I
right,
think that Pennywise and El Cuco
El
are
Cuco,
are
because
in the
same universe.
same vein. They coexist.
I wouldn't rule it out because there's some sort of vague dialogue in the finale with Holly Gibney and
Mhm.
El Cuco, where she's
When
like,
he's like, "Do you think there are other ones of me?"
are there others like you?" He's like, well, have you seen anybody else like me? And you're like, yeah, there's more like
Kind of.
you.
They're
Yeah,
shapeshifters, and they take
right.
forms of things that one. And it's funny because one takes a form of something that you're familiar with, and the
Mhm.
other takes something that you hate.
Are afraid of. Yeah.
So both of and one eats grief, the other one eats fear,
Hmm.
which is I don't know if you could kill El Cuco by bullying him,
No, you couldn't just shout insults at him like
No, you can't.
Pennywise.
You can't do that. No.
No, but
But
do you think they killed El Cuco?
I don't think so. And I'll tell you why.
Okay.
Because I caught this. I don't know if everyone caught this, but he scratched the old man. There's a scene where you see the old man. Remember he tackles him?
Which old man?
So the guy, when he was trying to take the kid out of like the cave festival or whatever.
Yeah.
The old guy tackles him, and you see the old guy after he runs away, and he's on his arm, and you can see there's a scratch on his arm.
Oh, okay.
So
that was a crazy scene, by the way, with that stupid bear mask. Ugh.
Oh, oof.
That was gross. Yeah. I did not like that.
That was very Wicker Man, right?
That was some Wicker Man shit.
Yeah.
Yep, I didn't like that. So the mid-credit scene, let me tell you about the mid-credit scene.
And that was scary. By the way, that was what I was scared of to death when I was a little kid, of someone taking me. Because remember, we used to do those stranger danger things, and my mother would like tell me that like gypsies were going to steal me.
Well, yeah, that's scared straight right there.
Scary shit, man. Yeah.
There was a mid-credit scene where Holly is, I don't know if she's brushing her teeth or she's like in her bathroom, like in front of the mirror.
Mm-hmm.
And then she like for a second sees Jack Hoskins behind her, and then he disappears. And then she grabs another like little mirror to check if she has any shit on her neck.
Oh,
and she does not. But then you see her sitting on her bed, and she's listening to a song, which I believe is the same song that Ben Mendelsohn's character was telling her about, that story about how
banjo jazz song.
Yeah, right. When he heard it, what was it when his mom died and his son died?
He heard it when his mom died, and then he was on his way when his son was born. He heard it when his son was born.
Yeah, right. And Holly said that's a coincidence.
Yeah, she's like, no, it's just
so she was listening to that song, or that song was playing anyway.
Yeah.
And she was just sitting on her bed, and it looked like she had a scratch on her arm, and she was on the computer and basically found a newspaper headline that said Terry Maitland had been like exonerated.
Mm-hmm.
So my other question is, when she was in the cave and they brought up Terry, Holly said, "Who's Terry?" Which she would know exactly who Terry is.
She would know. Yeah, that was weird. That caught me. It was like I was kind of like,
I was like, wait a minute, she doesn't know Terry Maitland, and then I'm like, no, she 100% knows Terry Maitland. Like, she was investigating that other guy very closely. I forget his name right now, but
because of Terry Maitland.
Because of Terry Maitland.
Yeah.
And the only thing I was reading online, one of the theories was like, basically they need to come up with a plan, and they're going to make sure that Terry Maitland is not viewed as a child murderer.
Mm-hmm.
And then maybe it would be like, so Terry who? Like, people wouldn't even know him. Whereas now he's known as the child murderer.
Yeah.
Like, that's the best, like, I guess. But she clearly knows who he was. That was really weird.
Mm-hmm.
What did you think of the ending overall? First of all, the finale, pretty tense stuff with Jack Hoskins kind of possessed,
the whole
shooting
thing
down.
So that was that 9? Was that episode 9? The shootout?
No, well, it started in 9.
Okay, and then 10 was like the first 15.
Yeah.
So episodes 7 and 9 were written by this guy named Dennis Lehane. Who Dennis Lehane? You've probably heard that name before.
Yes,
he's the author of Gone Baby Gone.
Oh,
Shutter Island. Mystic River.
Oh, okay.
I'm trying to think of like all the books that he. So, sorry.
Cool.
So he wrote Live by Night, which was a Ben Affleck movie. The Drop, which was an awesome movie with James Gandolfini and Tom Hardy.
Oh, okay.
So he wrote like all those books, and
that's pretty cool.
So he's and I think him and Stephen King are boys because he's a Boston guy, I think. So
nice.
Did I say Mystic River? Yeah, he wrote Mystic River. So, those 2 episodes were awesome, 7 and 9, where they're like going to and like Jack's like getting drunk and So that was
pretty good. Episode. The other question I had, and maybe it's got resolved, and I don't even remember, but when Holly was investigating like what was going on with Jason Bateman's character, like when he was going to Ohio, and then he was going to visit his father. Remember that whole thing? And then she went to the hospital, remember, and they were like, "Oh, like, what are you with the press? Like, we've kicked you guys out." What was the story with his dad?
So his dad, remember, he was going to Dayton to see his father.
Right.
and then that's when they think he got the truck,
That's when
and
he,
but he didn't.
that's
But
when
he
he got
didn't,
scratched.
obviously.
Wow.
But so the orderly who was working with his father, also was like shapeshifted.
Right.
So that's
No,
the
I know.
guy who,
But oh, so I get why I get like the connection and like why he was in, because it's funny because at first when they're like, you went to vacation in like Dayton, I'm like, well, this
Yeah.
doesn't make any sense. But then like it's because he went to go visit his father. But I'm like, but they made it out to be like, oh, like the press is here, and like so his father, like there's something up with his father, like for why he would have attention around him.
Yeah, because the whole, I mean, when there's a whole high profile murder case, I'm sure like
Oh,
the
okay.
people were asking him
I
about,
didn't know if there's
coming to
anything going
ask
on.
him about like his son
Yeah.
or whatever.
Okay.
That's what I took out of it. And again, remember he said he got scratched, and he said he was bleeding, and he said it was the male nurse did it.
Right.
So
Yeah.
that's how
that guy. Yeah. All right. That makes sense. Yeah,
Yeah.
Heath Hofstetter, right?
Heath Hofstetter, yes.
That was that guy.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Oh, the other thing, like the whole thing with the caves. I would not go into a cave like that.
Never. Are you
I
fucking
would
kidding?
not do that. Goes like spelunking.
No.
It was like the movie The Descent.
I did like the kids say that, oh, it's so tight they call it the sphincter. I'm like,
I'm not going down there.
What was that? You know what it reminded me of too? What was that Denzel Washington movie? Fallen?
Yes, that was pretty good. That was like different. That was John Goodman too, right?
It reminded me of that.
Yeah, it is definitely some of that.
Isn't it the one with like the killer, like he touches people and like his soul goes into like other people?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
They can't catch him.
Yeah.
It was kind of like that.
That was good. So is he basically like is he Satan or is he not?
No.
He's not Satan.
No.
He's just like a little guy. He's like a little guy.
He's a devil, not the devil. You know?
So I guess my next question would be, do you want a season 2?
No, but I do want a Holly Gibney series.
So that's, I think, pretty interesting too, because so Holly Gibney makes a reference, like, or Ralph says something to her about like maybe they'll work together again. So they could do that. And the other thing was, I think for a while you're viewing the El Cuco as the outsider, but then Holly has a line at the end about how like outsiders recognize outsiders or something like that. So she's basically saying like she's the outsider.
Right.
And so you could definitely do another series, but I wonder if people would anticipate it having to do with the supernatural, I guess.
I think that's cool. Like, I think that's, I read all those, like the Sandman Slim series and like the Daniel Faust series. Like I read all that shit. So I love that like supernatural PI. There is one of the things I wanted to do with my life. Like it's on my bucket list is to get a PI license. It's like on my list of things to do.
Just to like investigate.
Yeah. Like I don't even know if I'd use it, but just to like.
It's got to be so much easier now than it was. Think about like before Facebook and like Bing. Like
that's a lot of what I would imagine that real PI work is like getting hired to like follow someone's husband around. You know,
what would your snack be on stakeouts?
I really like Munchies, which is have you had Munchies before?
Yeah, it's like a whole bag of shit, right?
Yeah, it's like Frito-Lay's party mix. I like that.
So I like think what you would need though, Ryan. I would suggest you go something different than that because
I go salty and I go sweet. I need a salty, a savory, and a sweet.
I just feel like all of a sudden though something happens and you got like schmutz all over your hands. You need a cleaner snack.
You need a cleaner snack.
That's why I like Twizzlers at the movie theater.
Because it's not
all good. There's no butter. There's no chocolate. There's nothing on my fingers.
So I like a good Skittle.
Yeah, but again, a hot day, you're gonna have all kinds of. It's gonna melt right in your hands.
Twizzlers are gonna melt too.
Nope.
What about M&Ms? They melt in your mouth.
Not in your hand.
Not in your hand.
Yeah.
It's the thin candy shell.
How would you be afraid that if you like had a lot of coffee, you'd have to take a bathroom break and then you'd miss the husband leaving the house?
That's the that's the thing. The other thing too, I remember talking to someone about this, and they said the other thing that people do as PIs is like workman's comp claims.
Oh,
like if someone's claiming they got hurt at work, and then they go like
you got to go investigate,
follow them around and make sure that they're not. Yeah.
Oh, that part of it. Yeah. Make sure.
Like if people make sure they're not faking.
keep your neck brace on, buddy.
Yep.
That
Exactly.
sounds like a pretty sweet job, right?
Sweet job. A little extra cash in the summer. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Teacher during the year and PI in the summer. I like it.
The book writes itself.
I like it very much.
Mm-hmm.
You got anything else on the Outsider you want to hit on?
It's good enough to watch.
Yeah,
if you're into
it
that kind
was.
of thing. Definitely solid shit. Solid shit.
Yeah, I would say definitely. I like the start, like we said, and then you're like, all right.
HBO has done worse this year.
Because I know there was some talk 2 episodes in on the internet streets that it was reminiscent of season 1 of True Detective.
No.
To which I would say, no, everything doesn't need to be the greatest thing ever.
No, it doesn't.
And I'm usually guilty of saying everything's the greatest thing ever. This was good, and that's why I'm trying not to go too crazy with some of my scores this year. But it was good.
It was good. I don't think the first and third season of True Detectives was the shit.
Mm-hmm.
This is not that good.
No,
there's too much bullshit in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Just gotta tighten it up. Just gotta tighten it. You know?
Just tight.
Can't legally tell you to lose weight.
We can do.
Tighten it up. Yeah.
Is write a number down. Track that by 20. All right, Ryan, you ready for the pick of the pod?
Yes, let's do it.
All right, would you like to kick, receive, defer, or defend a goal?
I will defer to you this week.
All right, I'm going to receive. The first thing I'm going to do, and because I don't know when else to do this, because it didn't really fit for news, and it's not my pick of the pod, but it is. We used to do this every once in a while, sort of like the, I think we called it the to don't list.
Yeah.
Like an anti-pick of the pod, just like a warning to the people.
Yep.
It's currently streaming on HBO right now. The horror movie Ma.
Oh, you watched that? Yeah, I saw you watch that. Bad.
So Octavia Spencer's in it, so I thought could be sexy horror, and wasn't. No, it was pretty shitty. I thought like, and we've both said this many times. With horror and comedy, you cannot trust critics. You really cannot trust what other people say because I don't know. Some of the best and some of the worst, I wildly disagree with like a lot of people.
Agree.
So
like MacGruber.
Oh my god, I love MacGruber.
I think that's like a 20
TV show coming out too.
Oh, right? So excited. Yeah.
So anyway, Ma, it's like interesting enough premise, but it was just so dumb. There was a few things that happened in it where you're like, what is going on? And then just like there's one character. So Juliette Lewis's character.
Wait, Juliette Lewis is in this?
Yeah. So she's the mom of one of the daughters that parties at
crazy.
Mom's house.
It's crazy to me that Juliette Lewis is playing the mother in anything.
It's funny you say that because as the movie was going on, I was thinking the exact same thing. I was like, she was like the little girl in Cape Fear. It just shows you how old we are. It's like, and now she's the mom. So Juliette Lewis's character moves to back to her hometown.
Yep.
So she went to high school with a lot of the people there. But then like her daughter is dating the son of like a guy she went to high school with, and like she doesn't even really put that together. Then she like kind of like she sees the guy out at one time, but she never even mentions it to the son or to the daughter. It's like stupid shit like that just kind of bugged me. But then that later became like an important part of the plot.
And like you've seen him several times. You didn't just think to mention that.
Like, you guys are connected. You guys all went to high school together.
Well, let me. So we're in spoilers now, right? I haven't seen Ma. Can we fucking spoil Ma? Do you care?
I certainly don't care. I don't know if I doubt anybody out there would care.
So were all the kids of people who were mean to Ma when she was in high school?
Nah, not all of them, but like the core ones were, yeah.
See, that's stupid. All right, it's just
so stupid.
Dumb. Yeah,
it was so stupid. And there's like certain elements that they clearly try to take like from other horror movies where you're just like, I hate this. And then there was like another like unnecessary, like she basically she also had a daughter. Ma had a daughter who, what the hell is it called when you like make your kid sick? What the fucking thing's called? Munchausen.
Yeah, Munchausen.
It really wasn't that necessary, but they like threw that in too. Like,
why not? It's about control, Richard. That's what it is.
It was so bad though. It was just
fuck Ma.
So my real pick of the pod, and this is another wrestling thing, Ryan. Back to wrestling. Guess what's on Netflix? Right? Guess what's back on Netflix, or at least on Netflix for the first time?
What's on Netflix?
Beyond the Mat.
Oh,
one of the all-time great documentaries.
Mick Foley, man,
unbelievable. Came out in 1999, which was, I would safe to say, Ryan, the best year in wrestling.
Yeah, and this was around the time where I actually kind of stopped watching wrestling because it was like that's movie's sad, you
Yeah.
know?
It was really sad, and it's also they got so much access which Vince McMahon would not allow now. In fact, he did not
No,
promote the movie, and there was a whole
no.
falling out after the fact. But there's this, and then there's Wrestling with Shadows, the Bret Hart one
Mhm.
that they also got a lot of footage from because every documentary you see now is produced by the WWE, so it's
Right.
completely controlled by them. And so, like, yeah, there might be a story about like, oh, like the guy had like a hard upbringing or whatever, but they're not going to make the WWE look bad.
No, and they're not gonna
Whereas
be like,
this
yeah,
fucking movie makes the
yeah.
WWE look awful.
These guys, if they don't perform, they don't get paid.
Mhm.
They're independent contractors, so they don't have health insurance through the company because they're technically part-time employees.
Oh.
Like all that shitty stuff that they do to these guys.
And
And
then,
it's
but
just,
then going back to our guy Jake the Snake,
yeah,
we could
he's,
do an episode on Beyond the Mat.
we really could.
Like that was like King of Kong, we already did, and but like Beyond the Mat it's so compelling.
I gotta watch it again now that it's there. I gotta watch it
Yeah,
again.
it's and it's hard to find. Like it's not like on the showing up on my thing. I typed in like Beyond, and it still didn't even show up, and I was like,
They
like,
do that, so they bury stuff
they
sometimes.
bury like good stuff.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's my real pick of the pot is Beyond the Mat, right?
All right. So mine is actually a podcast that I started listening to. It was recommended to me by a friend. This podcast has been going on for some time, and it's fascinating to me. It's entitled My Dad Wrote a Porno. And
Oh, I've heard of that actually.
what it is a British guy whose father wrote erotic fiction. And I've listened to the first 2 episodes, and the what they do is they read a chapter of his book every week.
Oh, that's pretty funny.
And it's fucking brutal. And his father's pen name is Rocky Flintstone,
Amazing.
and the name of the book is Belinda Blinked.
Oh my god.
And it's a series. It's been 4 or 5 series of this. So I'm like, it's been going on for a while, but they read a chapter a week, and it's
That's
like
pretty funny.
it's so dumb. It's awesome.
That's funny.
It's awesome. So if you like funny podcasts, check that one out.
All right, next week we have an open date, so we'll figure out what we're gonna do. We will
We'll
tweet
figure it
out
out.
what the topic will be. In
Hey,
2 weeks, A Quiet
always do.
Place Part 2, Electric Boogaloo.
We always do figure it out, don't we?
Always do, every time.
Yeah.
You can rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast on iTunes. Yes.
I was going to end in a PSA. We haven't done that in a while.
Oh, let's do a PSA to end.
Okay.
I was just gonna say, follow us on Twitter, where you're voting for Dork Madness all month long at Dork Podcast. On Instagram as well, YouTube, and you can email us dorkpodcast@gmail.com. And if we ever were in need of a PSA, Ryan, I would say now is the time.
Now's the time. And you know what it is? Connected to what you were saying earlier, Richard, your various illnesses.
Oh my Christ!
Stop buying up all the fucking toilet paper.
Well,
It's not going to help you. It's going to help you with your Hershey squirts. But I'm going to tell you,
yeah.
if there's a viral disease coming that is a flu-like thing, having toilet paper is not going to help you.
No.
Just wash your fucking hands and be normal.
All right.
Stop traveling outside the country. Stop buying up all the water and TP. Just don't be a jackass.
All right. So
Just solid life to live by.
All right. How many squares per wipe?
Depends. If we go in single, by the way, the biggest gripe in my house, my wife grew up with single ply toilet paper.
What?
And doesn't mind it.
What?
I don't understand it.
How is that?
I kind of want to. She's in the next room. I kind of want to get her in here and explain herself as
How
to
is
how
that
she
possible?
uses single ply toilet paper.
Do you use like half the roll?
You have to beehive it. You have to and even then it's gritty and it's it's all. Do you want to get her in? And
then you get your hand in it.
Maybe we could have just a podcast dedicated to how my wife grew up. For I'm not kidding. Like almost 30 years using single ply toilet paper.
God.
Yeah. Unbelievable.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Well, it takes all kinds, right?
Stop buying up all the goddamn toilet paper. You idiots.
Oh.
That's all I got.
Well.
If you feel sick, stay home, Richard.
I've taken I've taken one sick day in my whole life.
Yeah. You're so
I'm not saying that's good. I've been sick for fucking 3 weeks.
Yeah.
I gotta kick this thing.
All right. I'll kick you.
I'll kick you in the nads.
Hard or soft?
Always hard.